watching a new series on Netflix about the 1997 Chicago Bulls. Riveting. Oh, my goodness, do I love that. A lot of things I didn't realize, didn't know, because at the time I was only about 7 years old. Regardless, great so far. Only one episode in, but man, am I enjoying that. Something else really cool. So anyway, allow me to get some background music playing, and my goodness, getting a fair amount of texts right now. Just happen to be coming in right now. There's one that I will respond to for sure, but while I do, yes, I'm finding some good music to play for the evening. So first of all, I see Amber has joined us. Huzzah, Amber! Glad to see you. Glad you're here. Well, come on, music. There we go. A little louder. Next up, let's see. I see Crystal has joined us. Huzzah! Hello, Crystal. And finally, Grey Wolf is here as well. Huzzah, Grey Wolf! Thankfully, you all are here. And don't worry about it, Amber. Keep texting whatever. Message. I don't care. I'm good. You're not the only one who's messaging me, okay? There are plenty. It's just so many. They just all came in at once in one spot. There, I have replied. A celebrity, you say? I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I'm a little popular, but I'm not I don't think I'm quite a celebrity. Maybe one day. It could be fun. I don't know. But anyway, here I am. I've got this creepy music playing. I've got my cream sherry. It's wonderful, delightful. Amber, you did ask a minute ago if it was too sweet or just right. That depends on who you are. Do you like very sweet things or not? I completely missed the wine with that sip there. That time I got it. And to answer your question, though, if you've ever had plum wine, it's very similar to that in terms of the amount of sweetness. Not as sweet as, say, Mogan David or Manischewitz. Those are both, well... Hey, why is my video so choppy? Oh, there we are. Better now. Those are both ridiculously sweet. They're like grape juice, but this is similar to, say, plum wine. Okay, internet, is it? Okay. If you all are having issues seeing my video, if it's choppy, let me know. If not, I'm going to assume it's just on my end. Okay, yes, not choppy on your end. Thank you for telling me that, Amber. Good to know. I will just continue full steam ahead. Yes, just loud music. Yes, I'm turning it down. All right, better? I'm sure that's better. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Chapter 24, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Dr. Seward's phonograph diary spoken by Van Helsing. You say your life is an issue. I'm sorry to hear that, Crystal. If you'd like to talk about it, I'm here. I'd be happy to discuss, but I won't do it over the video here so we don't air all your issues unless you really want to. Perhaps I should start therapy time. That could be fun, although I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone to talk to. Anyway, I don't know why I took that turn. Anyway, let's get to it. Dr. Seward's phonograph diary spoken by Van Helsing. This to Jonathan Harker. You are to stay with your dear Madam Mina. We shall go to make our search, if I can call it so, for it is not searching, but knowing, and we seek confirmation only. But you stay and take care of her today. But do you stay and take care of her today. This is your best and most holiest office. This day, nothing can find him here. Let me tell you so you will know what we four already know, for I have told them. He, our enemy, has gone away. He has gone back to his castle in Transylvania. I know it so well, as if a great hand of fire wrote it on the wall. We have to prepare for this in some way, and that last earth box was ready to ship somewhere. For this he took the money. For this he hurried at the last, lest we catch him before the sun goes down. It was his last hope, save that he might hide in the tomb that he think poor Miss Lucy, being as he thought like him, keep open to him. But there was not of time. When that failed, he might make for his last resource. His last earthwork, I might say, did I wish double intente. He's clever, oh so clever. He knows that his game here was finished, and so he decided to go back home. He found a ship going by the route he came, and he got on it. We go off now to find that ship and whither bound. When we have discovered that, we will come back and tell you all. Then we will comfort you and poor dear Madam Mina with new hope. For it will be hope, when you think it over, that all is not lost. This very creature that we pursue, he takes hundreds of years to get so far as London, and yet in one day, when we know of the disposal of him, we drive him out. He is finite, though he is powerful to do much harm and suffers not as we do, but we are strong, each in our purpose, and we are all much strong together. Take heart afresh, dear husband of Madam Mina, this battle is but begun, and in the end we shall win, so sure as that God sits on high to watch over his children. Let me move this mic back to the there we are, back to its rightful place, right up against the speaker. There we are. Sorry for that little bit of sound there. I'm sure it was a little scratchy. Van Helsing. Jonathan Harker's journal, October 4th. When I read to Mina Van Helsing's message in the phonograph, the poor girl brightened up considerably, although the certainty that the Count is out of the country has given her comfort, and comfort is strength to her. For my own part, now that this horrible danger is not face to face with us, it seems almost impossible to believe in it. Even my own terrible experiences in Castle Dracula seem like a long-forgotten dream, here in the crisp autumn air, in the bright sunlight. Alas, how can I disbelieve? In the midst of my thought, my eye fell on the red scar of my poor darling's white forehead. Whilst that lasts, there can be no disbelief. And afterward, the very memory of it will keep faith crystal clear. Mina and I fear to be idle, so we have been doing... No, I'm kidding. We have been all over the diaries again and again. Somehow, although the reality seems greater each time, the pain and the fear seem less. There is something of a guiding purpose manifest throughout, which is comforting. Mina says that perhaps we are the instruments of ultimate good. Bah! It may be. It may be. I shall try to think as she does. We have never spoken to each other yet of the future. It is better to wait till we see the professor and the others after their investigations. The day is running by more quickly than I ever thought a day could run for me again. It is now 3 o'clock. Mina Harker's journal, 5th of October, 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Our meeting for report. Present. Professor Van Helsing, present. Professor Van Helsing, Lord Godalming, Dr. Seward, Mr. Quincy Morris, Jonathan Harker, Mina Harker. Dr. Van Helsing described what steps were taken during the day to discover on what boat and whither bound Count Dracula made his escape. As I knew that he wanted to get back to Transylvania, I felt sure that he must go by the Danube mouth, or by somewhere in the Black Sea, since by that way he come. It was a dreary blank that was before us. Omne ignotum pro magnifico. And so, with heavy hearts, we start to find what ships leave for the Black Sea last night. He was in a sailing ship, since because Madam Mina tells of sails being set. These not so important as to go in your list of the shipping in the Times, and so we go, by suggestion of Lord Godalming, to your Lloyd's, where are note of all ship that sail, however so small. There we find that only one Black Sea-bound ship go out with the tide. She is the Tsarina Catherine, and she sails from Doolittle's wharf for Varna, and thence on to other parts and up the Danube. So, said I, this is the ship whereon is the Count. Whereon is the Count. So off we go to Doolittle's wharf, and there we find a man in an office of wood, so small that the man looks bigger than the office. From him we inquire the goings of the Tsarina Catherine. He swears much, and he is red-faced, and he's red-faced in loud voice, but he's a good fellow all the same. And when Quincy gives him something from his pocket, which crackles as he rolls it up, and puts it in a so small bag which he has hid deep in his clothing, he's still a better fellow and humble servant to us. He comes with us, and asks many men who are rough and hot. These be better fellows too, when they have been no more thirsty. They say much of blood and bloom, and of others, which I comprehend not, though I guess what they mean. But nevertheless they tell us all things which we want to know. By the way, everyone, what the hell, what do you mean log in? Yeah, alright, there, log in. Bah, piece of shit. It logged me out of the chat. That's so strange. I don't know why it would do that. Hey, cool, it's letting me know that I have 4 viewers right now. 3 of them on YouTube, 1 of them on Facebook. How exciting. I didn't realize I had a dashboard here that let me know all that. That is so cool. Alright, awesome. Well, anyway, continuing onward. So good. They make known to us among them how last afternoon at about 5 o'clock comes a man so hurried, a tall man, thin and pale, with high nose and teeth so white and eyes that seem to be burning, that he be all in black, except that he has a hat of straw, which suit not him all the time. That he scatter his money in making quick inquiry as to what ship sails for the Black Sea and for where. Some took him to the office and then to the ship, where he will not go aboard but halt at shore end of gangplank, and ask the captain come to him. The captain come, when told that he will be paid well, and though he swears much at the first he agreed to term. Then the thin man goes and tells and someone tells him where the horse and cart can be hired. He goes there, and soon he comes again, himself driving cart on which a great box. This he himself lifts down, though it takes several to put it on the truck for the ship. He gives much talk to the captain as to how and where his box is to be placed, but the captain does not like it, and swears at him in many tongues, and tells him that if he likes he can come and see where it shall be. But he says no, that he comes not yet, for that he has much to do. Whereupon the captain tells him that he had better be quick with blood, for that his ship will leave the place of blood before the turn of the tide, with blood. Okay. Then the thin man smiles and says that the course he must go when he thinks fit, but he will be surprised if he goes quite so soon. The captain swears again a polyglot, and the thin man makes him bow and thanks him, and says that he will so far intrude on his kindness as to come aboard before the sailing. Finally the captain, more red than ever, and in more tongues, tells him that he doesn't want no Frenchmen, with bloom upon them, and also with blood in his ship, with blood on her also. And so, after asking where there might be close at hand a ship where he might purchase ship forms, he departed. No one knew where he went, or bloomin' well cared, as they said, for they had something else to think of. Well, with blood again. For it soon became apparent to all that the Tsarina Catherine would not sail as was expected. A thin mist began to creep up from the river, and it grew and grew, till soon a dense fog enveloped the ship and all around her. The captain swore polyglot, very polyglot with bloom and blood, but he could do nothing. The water rose and rose, and he began to fear that he would lose the tide altogether. He was in no friendly mood when, just at full tide, the thin man came up the gangplank again and asked to see where his box had been stowed. Then the captain replied that he wished that he and his box, old and with much bloom and blood, were in hell. But the thin man did not be offended, and went down with the mate and saw where it was, and came up and stood a while on deck in fog. He must have come off by himself, for none noticed him. Indeed, they thought not of him, for soon the fog began to melt away, and all was clear again. My friends of the thirst and the language that was of bloom and blood laughed, as they told how the captain's swears exceeded even his usual polyglot, and was more than ever full of picturesque, when on questioning others mariners, who were on movement up and down on the river that hour, he found that few of them had seen any of fog at all, except where it lay around the wharf. However, the ship went out on the ebb tide, and was doubtless by morning far down the river mouth. She was by then, when they told us, well out to sea. And so, my dear Madam Mina, it is that we have to rest for a time, for our enemy is on the sea, with the fog at his command, on his way to the Danube mouth. To sail a ship takes time, go she never so quick, and when we start we go on land more quick, and we meet him there. Our best hope is to come on him, when in the box between sunrise and sunset, for then he can make no struggle, and we may deal with him as we should. There are days for us in which we can make ready our plan. We know all about where he goes, for we have seen the owner of the ship, who has shown us invoices and all papers that can be. The box we see is to be landed in Varna, and to be given to an agent, one Ristix, who will there present his credentials, and so our merchant friend will have done his part. When he asks if there be any wrong, for that so he can telegraph and have inquiry made at Varna, we say no, for what is to be done is not for police or of the customs. It must be done by us alone and in our own way. My, oh my, oh my. How it gets exciting. I see Mum and Stacy have both joined in. First to Mum, huzzah! And now to Stacy, huzzah! Thank you for being here. When Dr. Van Helsing had done speaking, I asked him if he was certain that the Count had remained on board the ship. He replied, we have the best proof of that. Your own evidence. When in the hypnotic trance this morning, I asked him again if it were really necessary that they should pursue the Count, for, I dread Jonathan leaving me, and I know that he would surely go if the others went. He answered in growing passion, at first quietly. As he went on, however, he grew more angry and more forceful, till in the end we could not but see wherein was at least some of that personal dominance which made him so long a master among men. Yes, it is necessary for your sake in the first, and then the sake of humanity. This monster has done much harm already in the narrow scope where he finds himself, and in the short time when as yet he was only as a body groping his so small measure in darkness and not knowing. All this have I told these others. You, my dear Madam Mina, will learn it in the phonograph of my friend John, or in that of your husband. I have told them have the measure of leaving his own barren land, barren of peoples, and coming to a new land where life of man teems till they are like the multitude of standing corn, was the work of centuries, were another of the undead like him, to try to do what he has done. Perhaps not all the centuries of the world that have been or that will be could aid him. With this one, all the forces of nature that are occult and deep and strong must have worked together in some wondrous way. The very place where he have been alive, undead for all these centuries, is full of strangeness of the geologic and chemical world. There are deep caverns and fissures that reach none know whither. There have been volcanoes, some of whose openings still send our waters strange properties and gases that kill or make to vivify. Doubtless there is something magnetic or electric in some of these combinations of occult forces which work for physical life in strange ways, and in himself were from the first some great qualities. In a hard and warlike time, he was celebrated that he had more iron nerve, more subtle brain, more braver heart than any man. In him, some vital principle having strange way found their utmost, and as his body keeps strong and grows and thrives, so his brain grows too. All this without that diabolic aid which is surely to him, for it has to yield to the power that comes from and are symbolic of good. And now this is what he is to us. He has infected you. Oh, forgive me, my dear, that I must say such, but it is for good of you that I speak. He infects you in such wise that even if you do no more, you have only to live in your old sweet way, and so in time death, which is of man's common lot, and with God's sanction shall make you like him. This must not be! We have sworn together that it must not. Thus are we masters of God's own wish, that the world and men for whom his Son died will not be given over to monsters, whose very existence would defame him. He has allowed us to redeem one soul already, and we go out as the old knights of the cross to redeem more. Like them we shall travel toward the sunrise, and like them, if we fall in good cause. He paused, and I said, But will not the Count take his rebuff wisely? It's a good question, Mina. Continue on. Because he has been driven from England, will he not avoid it, as a tiger does a village from which he has been hunted? Aha, he said, your simile of the tiger, good. For me, and I shall adopt him. Your man-eater, as they of India call the tiger, who has once tasted the blood of the human, cares no more for the other prey, but prowls unceasingly till he gets him. This that we hunt from our village is a tiger too, a man-eater, and he never ceases to prowl. Nay, in himself he is not one to retire and stay afar. In his life, his living life, he goes over the Turkey frontier and attacks his enemy on his own ground. He be beaten back, but did he stay? No. He came again and again and again. Look at his persistence and endurance. With the child brain that was to him, he has long since conceived the idea of coming to a great city. What does he do? He finds out the place of all the world most of promise for him. Then he deliberately set himself down to prepare for the task. He finds in patience just how is his strength and what are his powers. He studies new tongues. He learns new social life, new environment of old ways, the politic, the law, the finance, the science, the habit of a new land and a new people who have come to be since he was. His glimpse that we have had, whet his appetite only and keen his desire. Nay, it helped him to grow as to his brain, for it all proved to him how right he was at the first in his surmises. He has done this all alone, all alone, from a ruined tomb in a forgotten land. What more may he not do when the greater world of thought is open to him? He that can smile at death, as we know him, who can flourish in the midst of diseases that kill off whole peoples. Oh, if such an one was to come from God, and not the devil, what a force for good might he not be in this old world of ours? But we are pledged to set the world free. Our toil must be in silence, and our efforts all in secret, for in this enlightened age, when men believe not even what they see, the doubting of wise men would be in his greatest strength. It would be at once his sheath and his armor and his weapons to destroy us, his enemies who are willing to peril even our own souls for the safety of one we love, for the good of mankind, and for the honor and glory of God. After a general discussion, it was determined that for tonight nothing be definitely settled, that we should all sleep on the facts and try to think out the proper conclusions. Tomorrow at breakfast we are to meet again, and after making our conclusions known to one another, we shall decide on some definite course of action. I feel a wonderful peace and rest tonight. It is as if some haunting presence were removed from me, perhaps. My surmise was not finished, could not be, for I caught sight in the mirror of the red mark upon my forehead, and I knew that I was still unclean. And next we move on to Dr. Seward's diary. But before we do, another sip of wine. Another little message. Now, just a reminder, don't forget that you can find me on YouTube, bPecorny1. I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel, and if you'd share it with your friends, and if you would leave comments, because comments are wonderful. Oh, look at that, I now have 5 viewers tonight. 3 from YouTube and 2 from Facebook. How wonderful. So, I'm going to leave a quick message real quick just to answer back, but I will be resuming in just a moment. Let me turn up the music so it's more dramatic. So, any questions, anyone? Any questions at all? Well, whether you do or not, I think it's time to get back to the story. And please, if you do have questions or comments, leave them in the comments, and I will be happy to respond. I do check the comments regularly. So here we are. How much more in this chapter is there? Oh, goodness dear, a fair amount. All right. Dr. Seward's diary, 5th of October. That's where we pick up now. Oh, my. So it looks like... Oh, Amber sent me a picture. It looks like the messages are not coming through on this program, on the chat. They're not coming through. So I got the ones from Amber. It says, let's see. Can I get huzzah for John, Jonathan, and Scarlett? So, first things first. To John, huzzah! To Jonathan, huzzah! And to Scarlett, huzzah! Next up, let's see what's next. Fiddling with that blue doohickey quite a bit. Blue doohickey? What blue doohickey? I am curious. It's not this, is it? Or is it maybe this? This isn't blue, though. I don't know of what you talk. The more you know. Lol. Scarlett answered with a huzzah. I always wondered why you'd respond to comments not in the YouTube chat. I didn't know Facebook was your second stream. Oh, yes, about that. Blue pokey thing, yes. So, yes, to answer questions there, yes. The blue doohickey, yes. I do. I get comments both from Facebook and from YouTube. Unfortunately, it signed me out of the chat, and when I signed back in, now it's not showing new comments, which is dumb. Regardless, I will finish the story tonight, and then I will give all of you another shout out, and we will call it a night, and with hope that stupid problem will be fixed by tomorrow. So, moving onward with the story. Dr. Seward's diary, 5th of October. We all rose early, and I think that sleep did much for each and all of us. When we met at early breakfast, there was more general cheerfulness than any of us had ever expected to experience again. It is really wonderful how much resilience there is in human nature. Let any obstruction caused, no matter what, be removed in any way, even by death, and we fly back to the first principles of hope and enjoyment. More than once, as we sat around the table, my eyes opened in wonder whether the whole of the past days had not been a dream. It was only when I caught sight of the red blotch on Mrs. Harker's forehead that I was brought back to reality. Even now, when I am gravely revolving the matter, it is almost impossible to realize that the cause of all our trouble is still existent. Even Mrs. Harker seems to lose sight of her trouble for whole spells. It is only now and again, when something recalls it to her mind, that she thinks of her terrible scar. We are to meet here in my study in half an hour, and decide on our course of action. I see only one immediate difficulty. I know it by instinct rather than reason. We shall all have to speak frankly, and yet I fear that in some mysterious way poor Mrs. Harker's tongue is tied. I know that she forms conclusions of her own, and from all that has been I can guess how brilliant and how true they must be, but she will not or cannot give them utterance. I have mentioned this to Van Helsing, and he and I are to talk it over when we are alone. I suppose it is some of that horrid poison which has got into her veins beginning to work. The Count had his own purposes when he gave her what Van Helsing called the vampire's baptism of blood. Well, there may be a poison that distills itself out of good things in an age when the existence of ptomaines is a mystery. We should not wonder at anything. One thing I know, that if my instincts be true regarding poor Mrs. Harker's silences, then there is a terrible difficulty and unknown danger in the work before us. The same power that compels her silence may compel her speech. I dare not think further, for so I should in my thoughts dishonor a noble woman. Van Helsing is coming to my study a little before the others. I shall try to open the subject with him. Yep, still having difficulty seeing new comments, still not showing them. So, if you would like me to see new comments, go ahead and message me on Facebook or text me or whatever if you have my information, and I will be happy to answer them. I will respond as soon as I can. In the meantime, I'm going to light a scented candle, I think. It's been a long enough time. Sorry for bumping the microphone. Come on, light, darn you. There it is. Looks like Amber sent another photo. Let's see what it says, because I'm sure it's probably more comments that I can answer. And yes, surely it is. Thank you, Amber. Let's see here. No, refreshing, Tammy messaged me, and no, refreshing the chat is not working for some reason. Let's see here. I want to do. One day this will go off without a hitch, and then we will need to check the world's status. 2020, am I right? Anyway, yes, it's being difficult, being very difficult. And yes, Tammy, I know you are Grave Wolf. Thank you for the message. Anyway, yes, it's the chat is just being ever so difficult, ever so difficult. So, don't know what to say about that. Regardless, we will carry on. We will get by. The story will continue, and it will go well. Anyway. Forward! Later, when the professor came in, we talked over the state of things. And see, I think the chat is not as big of an issue as if the video and audio stopped working. But regardless, carry on. No more on that matter. I could see that he had something on his mind which he wanted to say, but felt some hesitancy about broaching the subject. After beating about the bush a little, he said suddenly, "Friend John, there is something that you and I must talk of alone, just at the first, at any rate. Later, we may have to take the others into our confidence." Then he stopped, so I waited. He went on. "Madam Mina, our poor, dear Madam Mina, is changing." A cold shiver ran through me to find my worst fears thus endorsed. Van Helsing continued, "With the sad experience of Miss Lucy, we must this time be warned before things go too far. Our task is now, in reality, more difficult than ever, and this new trouble makes every hour of the direst importance. I can see the characteristics of the vampire coming in her face. Coming right in her face. Oh. It is now but very, very slight, but it is to be seen if we have eyes to notice without to prejudge. Her teeth are some sharper, and at times her eyes are more hard, but these are not all. That is to her the silence now often, as so it was with Miss Lucy. She did not speak, even when she wrote that which she wished to be known later. Now my fear is this: if it be that she can, by our hypnotic trance, tell what the Count see and hear, is it not more true that he who have hypnotized her first, and who have drink of her very blood, and make her drink of his, should, if he will, compel her mind to disclose to him that which she knows? Time to run amok. Yes, time to run amok indeed, Crystal. I nodded acquiescence. He went on. Then what we must do is to prevent this. We must keep her ignorant of our intent, and so she cannot tell what she know not. This is a painful task. Oh, so painful that it heartbreaks me to think of it. But it must be. When today we meet, we must tell her that, for reason which we will not to speak, she must not be of our counsel, but be simply guarded by us. He wiped his forehead. Really, Van Helsing, you should have told her that you would give the opposite of the real plans. Give poor planning, give bad plans, so that Count Dracula would think you were doing something else, and then not expect you, like the Spanish Inquisition, unexpected since 1970. Huzzah! Oh, so painful that it heartbreaks me to think of it, but it must be. When today we meet, I must tell her that for reasons which we will not to speak, she must not be of our counsel, but be simply guarded by us. He wiped his forehead, which had broken out in profuse perspiration at the thought of the pain which he might have to inflict upon the poor soul already so tortured. I knew that it would be some sort of comfort to him if I told him that I also had come to the same conclusion, for at any rate it would take away the pain of doubt, I told him, and the effect was as I expected. It is now close to the time of our general gathering. Van Helsing has gone away to prepare for the meeting, and his painful part of it. I really believe his purpose is to be able to pray alone. Later, at the very outset of our meeting, a great personal relief was experienced by both Van Helsing and myself. Mrs. Harker had sent a message by her husband to say that she would not join us at present, as she thought it better that we should be free to discuss our movements without her presence to embarrass us. The professor and I looked at each other for an instant, and somehow we both seemed relieved. For my part, I thought that if Mrs. Harker realized the danger herself, it was much pain as well as much danger averted. Under the circumstances, we agreed, by a questioning look and answer with finger on lip, to preserve silence in our suspicions until we should have been able to confer alone again. We went at once into our plan of action. Van Helsing roughly put the facts before us first. The Tsarina Catherine left the Thames yesterday morning. It will take her at the quickest speed she has ever made at least 3 weeks to reach Varna. But we can travel overland to the same place in 3 days. Now, if we allow for 2 days less for the ship's voyage, owing to such weather influences as we know that the Count can bring to bear, and if we allow a whole day and night for any delays which may occur to us, then we have a margin of nearly 2 weeks. Thus, in order to be quite safe, we must leave here on the 17th at latest. Then we shall at any rate be in Varna a day before the ship arrives, and able to make such preparations as may be necessary. Of course, we shall all go armed against evil things, spiritual as well as physical. Here Quincy Morris added, I understand that the Count comes from a wolf country, and it may be that he shall get there before us. I propose that we add Winchesters to our armament. I have a kind of belief in a Winchester when there is any trouble of that sort around. Do you remember, Art, when we had the pack after us at Tobolsk? What wouldn't we have given for a repeater apiece? Good, said Van Helsing. Winchesters it shall be. Quincy's head is level at all times, but most so when there is to hunt. Metaphor be more dishonor to science than wolves be of danger to man. Yes, metaphor be more dishonor to science than wolves be of danger to man. In the meantime, we can do nothing here, and as I think that Varna is not familiar to any of us, why not go there more soon? It is as long to wait here as there. Tonight and tomorrow we can get ready, and then, if all be well, we four can set out on our journey. We four, said Harker interrogatively, looking from one to another of us. Of course, answered the professor quickly. You must remain to take care of your so sweet wife. Harker was silent for a while, and then said in a hollow voice, Let us talk of that part in the morning. I want to consult with Mina. I thought that now was the time for Van Helsing to warn him not to disclose our plans to her, but he took no notice. I looked at him significantly and coughed. For answer, he put his finger on his lips and turned away. Jonathan Harker's journal. Oh my, things are getting seriously. Are they not? Are they not? Here we go. What happened, music? Oh, damn you, music. Refresh. Oh, please don't tell me it's the internet in general. Oh, fuck me. Fuck you, internet. Surprise! Surprise! We return to story time. And the music comes back on. Because fuck my internet. Fuck it. Hard. With a whole bag of dicks. Hey, Crystal, I just got that comment. That means comments are back. Huzzah! Let us celebrate with a drinky poo. All right. Oh, yep, and there's a comment from Mum too. Now, okay, let's see. I'm getting messages and such, but now I don't get the cool thing that no, don't change. Fuck. But now I don't get the cool thing that tells me how many people are watching and listening and such. Like, what the hell, man? That was really cool. I liked being able to see that. Oh, well. Why can't I see that? 3 on YouTube. Good. Very good. And yes, huzzah, Amber, indeed. Sorry, I got a funny meme. Good on you, Grey Wolf. I like that comment. I like that message indeed. No, I don't want to view a story. All right. Unless you have the live chat on your phone at the same time. Are you sure it's not your computer? Unless you're... No, it is definitely the Restream.io. It's a really cool service, but it has some problems. You know? Like that. The internet issue is definitely It's my internet. My internet is shit. That's all there is to it. I have cocks, and they're a bunch of cocks. 5th of October, afternoon. For some time after our meeting this morning, I could not think. New phases of things leave my mind in a state of wonder which allows no room for active thought. Mina's determination not to take any part in the discussion set me thinking. And as I could not argue the matter with her, I could only guess. I am as far as ever from a solution now. The way the others received it, too, puzzled me. The last time we talked of the subject, we agreed there was to be no more concealment of anything among us. Mina is sleeping now, calmly and sweetly like a little child. Her lips are curved and her face beams with happiness. Thank God there are such moments still for her. Later, how strange it all is. I sat watching Mina's happy sleep and came as near to being happy myself as I suppose I shall ever be. As the evening drew on and the earth took its shadows from the sun sinking lower, the silence of the room grew more and more solemn to me. All at once Mina opened her eyes and looked at me tenderly, said, "Jonathan, I want you to promise me something on your word of honor. A promise made to me, but a promise made to me, but made holily in God's hearing, and not to be broken, though I should go down on my knees and implore you with bitter tears. Quick, you must make it to me at once. Mina, I said, a promise like that, I cannot make at once. I may have no right to make it. But, dear one, she said, with such spiritual intensity that her eyes were like pole stars, it is I who wish it, and it is not for myself. You can ask Dr. Van Helsing if I am not right. If he disagrees, you may do as you will. Nay, more, if you all agree later, you are absolved from the promise. I promise, I said, and for a moment she looked supremely happy, though to me all happiness for her was denied by the red scar on her forehead. She said, promise me that you will not tell me anything of the plans formed for the campaign against the Count, not by word or inference or implication, not at any time whilst this remains to me. And she solemnly pointed to the scar, and saw that she was in earnest, and said solemnly, I promise, and as I said it, I felt that from that instant a door had been shut between us. Later, midnight, Mina has been bright and cheerful all the evening, so much so that all the rest seemed to take courage, as if infected somewhat with her gaiety. As a result, even I myself felt as if a pall of gloom which weighs us down was somewhat lifted. We all retired early. Mina is now sleeping like a little child. It is a wonderful thing that her faculty of sleep remains to her in the midst of her terrible trouble. Thank God for it, for then at least she can forget her care. Perhaps her example may affect me as her gaiety did tonight. I shall try it. Oh, for a dreamless sleep. 6th of October, morning. Another surprise. Mina woke me early, about the same time as yesterday, and asked me to bring Dr. Van Helsing. I thought that it was another occasion for hypnotism, and without question went for the professor. He had evidently expected some such call, for I found him dressed in his room. His door was ajar, so that he could hear the opening of the door of our room. He came at once. As he passed into the room, he asked Mina if the others might come too. No, she said quite simply, it will not be necessary. You can tell them just as well. I must go with you on your journey. Dr. Van Helsing was as startled as I was. After a moment's pause, he asked, but why? You must take me with you. I am safer with you, and you shall be safer too. But why, dear Madam Mina? You know that your safety is our solemnest duty. We go into danger to which you are, or may be, more liable than any of us from circumstances. Things that have been. He paused, embarrassed. As she replied, she raised her finger and pointed to her forehead. I know. That is why I must go. I can tell you now, whilst the sun is coming up, I may not be able again. I know that the Count wills me, that when the Count wills me, I must go. I know that if he tells me to come in secret, I must come by any device to hoodwink even Jonathan. God saw the look that turned on me as she spoke, and if there be indeed a recording angel, that look is noted to her everlasting honor. I could only clasp her hand. I could not speak. My emotion was too great for even the relief of tears. She went on, you men are brave and strong. You are strong in your numbers, for you can defy that which would break down the human endurance of one who had to guard alone. Besides, I may be of service, since you can hypnotize me and learn that which even I myself do not know. Dr. Van Helsing said very gravely, Madam Mina, you are, as always, most wise. You shall come with us, and together we shall do that which we go forth to achieve. Oh, my. And I don't see any more comments passed unless you have the live chat on your phone at the same time. So if there are more comments and I'm just not seeing them, sorry, go ahead and message me. When he had spoken, Mina's long spell of silence made me look at her. She had fallen back on her pillow of sleep. She did not even wake when I had pulled up the blind and let in the sunlight which flooded the room. Van Helsing motioned to me to come with him quietly. We went to his room, and within a minute Lord Godalming, Dr. Seward, and Mr. Morris were with us all. He told them what Mina had said, and went on. In the morning we shall leave for Varna. We have now to deal with a new factor, Madam Mina. Oh, but her soul is true. It is to her an agony to tell us so much as she has done, but it is most right, and we are warned in time. There must be no chance lost, and in Varna we must be ready to act the instant when that ship arrives." "What shall we do exactly?" asked Mr. Morris, laconically. The professor paused before replying. "We shall at the first board that ship. Then, when we have identified the box, we shall place a branch of the wild rose on it. This we shall fasten, for when it is there, none can emerge. So at least says the superstition. So to superstition must we trust at the first. It was man's faith in the early, and it has its roots in faith still. Then, when we get the opportunity that we seek, when none are near to see, we shall open the box, and all will be well." "I shall not wait for any opportunity," said Morris. "When I see the box, I shall open it and destroy the monster, though there were 1,000 men looking on. And if I am to be wiped out for it the next moment—" I grasped his hand and instinctively and found it as firm as a piece of steel. I think he understood my look. I hope he did. "Good boy," said Dr. Van Helsing. "Brave boy. Quincy is all man. God bless him for it. My child, believe me, none of us shall lag behind or pause from any fear. I do but say what we may do, what we must do, but indeed, we cannot say what we shall do. There are so many things which may happen, and their ways and their ends are so various that until the moment we may not say. We shall all be armed in all ways, and when the time for the end has come, our efforts shall not be lack. Now, let us today put all our affairs in order. Let all things which touch on others dear to us and who on us depend be complete, for none of us can tell what or when or how the end may be. As for me, my own affairs are regulated, and as I have nothing else to do, I shall go make arrangements for the travel. I shall have all tickets and so forth for our journey." There was nothing further to be said, and we parted. I shall now settle up all my affairs of earth and be ready for whatever may come. Later. It is all done. My will is made and all complete. Huzzah! Mina, if she survive, is my sole heir. If it should not be so, then the others who have been so good to us shall have remainder. It is now drawing toward the sunset. Mina's uneasiness calls my attention to it. I am sure that there is something on her mind which the time of exact sunset will reveal. These occasions are becoming harrowing times for us all, for each sunrise and sunset opens up some new danger, some new pain, which, however, may in God's will be means to a good end. I write all these things in the diary, since my darling must not hear them now, but if it may be that she can see them again, they shall be ready. She is calling to me. And that, dear friends, is the end of chapter 24, which means we will resume with chapter 25 on Friday. But tomorrow, we pick back up with Goosebumps. Ooh, should be fun. Anyway, though, hands are busy. Scarlet thinks it's playtime. Good. You good. Thank you for letting me know. Right. I wonder if I do this. Nope, that didn't do it. Gosh. I wonder why Restream gave me that information briefly and now is not doing so. Oh well. Either way, thank you everyone for watching. Much love and appreciation. I do. You really can't wait for Harry Potter. I know, Amber. I know you can't. It's going to be a good time. It will. And we are going to get back into it, and I will get more practice with my voices for all those characters. All of them. But anyway, for the evening, I must say adieu. I bid you adieu. Don't forget, Beeper21 YouTube. I will soon be starting my new channel. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Maybe earlier tomorrow. We will see. I think I will try to go a little earlier. I may try for the new time of 8 o'clock. And Crystal, no, we are not starting with book 1 of Harry Potter. I've already read book 1. We will now be reading book 2. So the Chamber of Secrets. Yes, that's the one, the Chamber of Secrets. And then I will read some other book, and then back to Harry Potter. And so forth, back and forth, back and forth. Without further ado, laters, gators. Yes, indeed. Good night, everyone. Good night, good night, good night. Much love and appreciation. And until next time, that being tomorrow. See you around.